2. Can everybody hear me? Does everything sound good, look good? At least I'm apparently in, looks like, landscape mode, so maybe we're not going to have issues this this live stream. Keep those fingers crossed. All right. So hopefully everybody had a good day and a good New Year's Eve, New Year's transition. Hopefully you all got to enjoy the time. Let me shrink this down. There we go. That way that's not bothering you all. Yeah, I had to work last night, so I didn't get to really enjoy the midnight crossover into 2022. I was working, but it is what it is, and we're here now. We have made it to another year, and in this live stream, I just thought that we'd have a little bit of fun and also discuss the plans for the Honest Audiophiles YouTube channel, and just reflect a little bit back on 2021 and see what you guys are doing. All right, let's see here. Here's hoping for a better year COVID-free. That would sure be nice. Definitely. It would be nice to have less restrictions and all that kind of stuff. But hey, you know what? We've learned how to adapt, and it is what it is. Let's see here. Do you have one quick question? But I'll get to that in a moment. One thing that would be nice, speaking of COVID-free, would be able to really go back to being able to do like shows and meets and things like that without having a bunch of restrictions. That would definitely be enjoyable and be nice to be able to get back with the group. Speaking of, one thing that I am kind of working on, and I have been kind of tossing things around in my brain, is for the people that are able to here in the U.S. Now, if you want to fly, you're more than able to, but I'm trying to arrange for a audio meet locally here for me, and then you all can come and join in on the fun. I'm still trying to figure out venues for that and all the arrangements, so that is in the works, but more details will be coming out in regards to that, but hopefully we'll be able to get something together during the summertime, and maybe meet some of you fine folks, and I get to hear some gear and all that. So be on the lookout for that. But again, it's very, very in the early portions of thought processes. So no promises here, but it's a pipe dream so far, and it's been wiggling around up here a little bit in my noggin. So hopefully we can get something there started. All right. So to answer the first question of the day is, what was the best audio gear you bought and used back in 2021? And I mean, there's a lot of good gear that I really did enjoy, but the one that I have used the most and has been the biggest help and biggest enjoyment is the little blue amplifier right back there, the Head Amp GSX Mini. Thoroughly enjoy that amplifier, and it has been such a true, genuine resource for me in reviewing, and also I just use it every day as my personal amplifier as well. So yeah, the Head Amp GSX Mini. There's also been several other products, fine products, way too many to mention that have stood out. But yeah, the Head Amp GSX Mini. All right, so on to the hot topic of burn-in. Why does no one ever say after burn-in that it got worse? You know what? That's a good question. And actually, sometimes it's possible. Things, yeah. I mean, that's a tough question. Burn-in is so, it's such a, like, you mention it and you'll get the reaction, and it doesn't exist at all. Or you get the one, yeah, burn-in totally exists and you have to do it for 500 hours or whatever. And then you'll have ones, well, I disagree with your review because obviously you didn't burn your gear in, or you didn't do this or that. And I can see the point of, yes, burn-in does exist to a degree. It's kind of scientific. Things have to kind of break in a little bit, but at the same time, does it make a real audible difference? I've rarely ever heard one, but I do burn-in. And I do it just to be consistent. And if you watch some of my reviews or videos on how my review process is, I explain that. But there have been a few times where, like, you listen to something when it first comes in, and you're like, this sounds good. Then over time, as it burns in, breaks in, whatever, you're like, and you have to tweak it. You have to change a cable. You have to put a different tip on, things like that. So is it getting worse because of the burn-in? That's a good question. That's really a good question. Yeah, maybe something that should be discussed. All right, let's see here. I'm so jealous of the people in the U.S. right now. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. Happy New Year to you. If you had to keep one and only one headphone, which one would you choose? If I had to choose one headphone, do I have to own it? Or can I purchase it later? Actually, probably the headphone, the headphone, over your headphone that I would choose would probably be the Meze Empyrean. Just because it is so much, it can do an all-around aspect of things, and it's so pleasurable to listen to. And it gives you all the information that you need, even though you can't use it in all aspects. I would say Meze Empyrean. I didn't notice a difference at all. I just do it for the sake of doing it. Oh, burning. Yeah, that's understandable. All right. So I wanted to kind of give you some New Year's resolutions, I guess. I don't really like doing resolutions, but New Year's dreams, New Year dreams for the channel. Also, we're going to discuss that here. Loved your Stax review. Tried a Lambda L700 Mark IIs. It's your end game. Okay. If I can ever get one in, I definitely will give those a shot. Try to obtain one or have somebody send me one. All right. So just some information, some nerding out about 2021. The Honest Audiophile channel got 6,183 subscribers for the year of 2021. 6,183. Thank you very much for joining the channel. If you're watching this live or a recording later in the future, do appreciate you subscribing to the channel. That is awesome. And I truly am very thankful for each and every one of you subscribers. But of those subscribers, 1,352 unsubscribed. 1,352 unsubscribers in the year of 2021 to the channel. That hurts my heart. I wish I hadn't lost anybody. I don't like losing subscribers at all. And so that gives us a grand total of gained subscribers for 2021 of the Honest Audiophile channel to be 4,831. 4,831 subscribers gained, which is a good number. And I really am very, very thankful for everybody that has subscribed to the channel. If it wasn't for all you, I wouldn't have any reason to do the channel. Of all those subscribers, now this one baffles me a little bit. Maybe my brain just thinks differently. Of all the people that subscribe, only 11% hit the notification bell. Find that odd. It seems like a really low number. I would have thought that more people would hit the notification bell. That way you'll know when the next video comes up or a community post is happening, things like that. But maybe it becomes a nuisance to some. I don't know. But I always check it off if I'm subscribed to a channel. Just a weird stat that kind of stood out. Another stat that kind of stands out, which is kind of craziness. Now, this is a average view time for all videos. So whether the video is 5 hours long, which I didn't do any 5-hour long ones, or if it's 5 minutes long or however long, it's the average watch time for every single video is 24% of the view time of the video. So if the video is 5 minutes long, they're watching for 1:50 or whatever that breaks out to. And if it's 5 hours long, they're obviously watching it for, a little bit over an hour or whatever. 24% average of watching the video all the way through. And that comes out to 4 minutes and 17 seconds per video on average. Kind of seems a little low, but I understand. People have things to do. Maybe you've already heard some of the information before, so you're skipping around, that type of thing. And then we started the year with 7 patrons, and I'm down to 1. That's kind of my fault a little bit because I did quit Patreon for a little while. And then also we did start YouTube memberships. And so YouTube memberships, we gained 1, but we've lost them also. So currently right now we have no YouTube memberships. So anyways, that's all kind of the rundown of the basic stats of the Honest Audiophile. And in a little bit, I'll tell you my goals for 2022 and how they apply to those numbers from 2021. All right, let me get back to these questions. They're pouring in here. Okay, so on the controversial topic of audio cables, do you think that expensive cables are better than stock and cheap cables? Okay, I did a write-up on this for the Meze Empyrean, and I had some cables that were sent in, and they were more expensive than the stock cable. Did I hear a difference? Kind of. Was it worth it? Yeah, it's. I normally change cables mainly because of aesthetics, the feel of it, maybe the way that it works, a better connector, different connections, that type of thing. I don't normally hear differences in the actual cable sonics. Now, can it happen? Yes. Is there some differences? Yes and no. Is it enough to warrant those insanely expensive prices? It's up to the purchaser. I didn't really hear enough to warrant it. Now, sometimes some changes are significant. It just kind of depends. I'm not really sold on super expensive cables, but I do own some more expensive cables than stock cables. Okay, let's see here. I don't really like the notification bell. I don't press it on any channels, but I still see all the videos in my subscriptions, as I guess it's fine. Okay, that's fine. I understand that. There's different reasonings for it, and I can understand a notification bell can be like, it does force things on you. Like as soon as I think you get like a pop-up or something, so I totally understand. As long as you keep an eye on your subscription links, works too. Let's see here. I'm interested to know what headphone everyone is using now. I put on my Takstar Pro 82s for comfort and isolation, and also what's your most comfortable headphone? Most comfortable headphone that I own? That's a good question. I would over-ear headphone, the most comfortable. That's going to come down between the Sennheiser HD 660S and the Meze Empyrean. What headphones do I use? I use 560S, very comfy. They are actually really comfy. I found the 660s to be a little bit more comfy for me because I had a little bit more clamp force than the 560. For me, the 560 was a little loose. But they're all comfortable. Now, the 560S was lighter than the 660, barely, but it did seem like it was a little lighter on the head. Anyways, what headphones am I currently using? My go-to headphones reaches are the Rawson Red Zero, the Odyssey LCD2 closed, the Meze Empyrean, and the Sennheiser HD 660S, 660 or 600s. I also use some various other ones, but those are pretty much my kind of go-tos for headphones. And I also use a Hi-Fi Man Ananda. Thank you for putting that there. It's literally right there. I completely forgot about mentioning it. Another one that I use quite frequently is another one that's behind me there is the Ether C from Mr. Speakers. So, sorry, I have too many headphones. All right. Let's see here. Takstar Pro 82s. I've never heard those. I need to bring those in. They're fairly cheap. I should get a pair just to give them a try. Let's see here. Had the M40X and the LCD2s returned to LCD2. Now, was that the open or the closed? Because I definitely would take the closed over the opens. All right. Let's see. Ananda sold out every other headphone because I just felt like it does everything well. That very good. Nico, you're absolutely right. The Ananda is a very good, just all-rounder headphone. It just does everything proper and correct, in my opinion. My go-to is the LCDX. It's on the way. Yeah, LCDX is a very good option. If it's the older version, make sure you change the pads. Apparently, that puts it to the same as the 21 version, which I reviewed recently. Yes, Ananda is a very nice headphone. Totally agree. All right, so let's get back to resolutions here while the questions pop up on my screen. So some resolutions or goals for 2022 for the Honest Audiophile channel. I would like to gain 7,000 subs. Now we gained 6,183 in 2021, so I don't think 7,000 is too hard of a challenge. And I would like to get to 15,000 subs overall. We're like, before the live stream started, we were 36, 35 behind from 8K. So 7K would put us to 15K. So I think that's a good goal to reach. So if you guys could spread the word for me, if you're already subscribed, if you're not subscribed, why aren't you? Let's get this count going here. But I'd like to get the channel to grow that far. I think that we are on good track. We have good growth going. So I don't see why we couldn't get that far. And then another goal that I would like to see is that unsubscribe number to get to less than 1,000. So we actually have to gain more subs than 7,000 in order to cover for unsubscribes. But I understand unsubscribes are going to happen. But if we can get that number smaller than it was last year, that would definitely be growth for the channel. And then another thing that I would like to see as far as growth of the channel is I would like to see the view time go from 25% to 50%. I would like to see more people watching videos at least halfway through instead of skipping around as much as they are now. And then for Patreon, since I only have one Patreon at the moment, I would like to garner that back and see if we could grow and get one per month and end up the year with 13 total, including the one that we currently have. And then YouTube members, the same growth. I'd like to see, if possible, gaining one of those a month. I think those are pretty realistic numbers. If you all have different takes on Patreon and YouTube membership, if you prefer one over the other, we could always get rid of one of them and only keep the other. If we do keep YouTube, just to kind of balance out the financials a little bit, might have to raise the by $1 or something like that, just to kind of help support a little bit, because YouTube is a lot cheaper than Patreon. But other than that, I totally understand not everybody can support, and I'm not begging for money, but at the same time, a little financial help does help out us content creators be able to bring in gear to review and things like that. So anyways, I am done shilling. Those are my goals. Hopefully we can get to 15K subs. That would be awesome. And get some more views. All right, so let's see here. Go back to M40X. We answered that one. Okay, Daily Drivers, the Ananda, sold everything. I had the full cal lined up, very comfortable. They are. The only thing for me with full cals is they were a little heavy versus like Sennheisers. They have very similar like clamp force and comfort on the headband stuff. They're just a little bit heavier on the cup, so I can't wear them as long as I can Sennheisers. Let's see here. My most comfortable headphone is the Monoprice Retros with the Brainwaves lambskins. Well, the Retros can be comfy with different pads because they're so light, but they're a little flimsy in build. But I can understand that. Let's see here. My go-to is the LCX and Ananda. Go-to Focal Elysia and the Hi-Fiman Sundara for comfort. Okay. I'm waiting for the Moondrop Aria to start my journey in IEMs. It's a good start. I actually would probably go with the Tin Hi-Fi T3 Plus over the Aria, but I can understand why the Aria as well. It's not a bad IEM. Techstar Pro 82 is a great knockabout headphone. If you get one, make sure to pick the one with the case. It's probably worth more than the headphone. Really? It's interesting. Let's go to 10,000 subscribers. Well, we got to get to 10,000 before we get to 15,000. Or are you talking 10,000 total for the year growth? I would be okay with that too, just to keep it realistic, but I understand that. You could always do critical giveaway and heaps of stuff from sponsors. He went from 10,000 to 100,000 in weeks. Yeah, but you're buying subscribers there. This is the thing with giveaways. Is you're not getting genuine viewers and subscribers. You are getting people that are only there for free stuff, and they will eventually leave. I'm actually trying to grow a channel that is supportive and is respectful and is understanding of the reviewer, and we're here for each other and supportive in that way. We're not here just for free cheap stuff. And I mean, I'll do a giveaway. I have some stuff I'll give you away, but I don't think you'll want it. I really don't want to give away stuff that I don't even like. So if a manufacturer were to provide me some quality gear to give away, though, obviously I would give it away if they said I could. Okay, let's see. Happy New Year's, R. Walton. Can you suggest a budget audiophile closeback? What is the budget? Some say $1,000 a budget. Some say hundreds a budget. Something in between there. A little bit more clarification. Also, do keep in mind I'm very limited on closebacks, but I'll try to do the best I can. Yeah, but those subscribers can become genuine watchers. It's true, they can, but I would say the odds probably are a little less. That's just my thought on it. Have I tried the FIO FD5? I don't believe so. I don't remember. Give me a second. I have a bad old man memory. Sorry. Let me check. FIO FD5. Did I review you? I don't believe I did. Yes, actually I did. I rank them as a D, which actually is good on my list. So yes, I do, but I don't remember anything about them. You might want to watch that review. I do apologize. I honestly don't recall the FD5s. I wish I had a better answer for you. But yes, I do rank them as Ds. Now, people have asked and have made comments about my ranking tier list. I want to actually talk about this for a moment. Why do I rank it A, B, C, D? I rank it that way because, for one, A, B, C, D is how you are graded in schools here. And so I was brought up that way. But I also did it to be just different. And so I did it, here in school, A is top of the line, D is not so good. But I wanted to do it in reverse. I wanted to do a little play on words, be a little bit different than all the other people that have done tier lists and rankings. So A is awful. Okay, so if you take A and you do an A plus is closer to being B, which is bad, than A or A minus. So A minus is the absolute worst headphone or earphone or piece of gear that it can be, in my opinion. So A minus, A is kind of middle of the road, and then A plus is it's bad, but it's still awful. Okay, and then B is bad. B minus is this is bad. It's almost awful. B is this is just a bad, and then B plus is it's bad, but it's kind of close to being a C, which is contender, and then contender, obviously C minus is like about about as close as we can get to being tolerable. And then C is contender, C plus. Okay, we're getting up there to being in the delicious area. Delicious this is actually really good. So D minus and C plus kind of butt up and then goes forth. And then E is excellent. And E is just the cream of the crop. So that's the way I kind of grade things. And I did it just kind of be a little different, but also to put my spin on things. So if you are looking at my tier list and you kind of see things, make sure if you've been looking at everybody else's tier list and then you look at mine, make sure that you check out the rankings tab just to make sure that you get a little clarification and kind of remember where I'm coming from. All right, let's see. How do I convince my wife to let me to buy more gear? So that's a hard one. You kind of have to go into car salesman mode sometimes. And also sometimes you have to get into the Mr. Charm and just lovey-dovey. And sometimes you have to be like, hey, look, if you let me buy this, I'll buy you this. Or if I allow you to go do this and I go do this with you, I get this. You just kind of have to spin it a little bit. Or turn them into audiophiles. Really, really get them to enjoy the same things that you are. I find that every time I get something new in, whether it's sent to me for review or I purchase it, I allow my wife to listen to it. And I allow her to listen and hear the same music that I'm listening to. And then for her music, because she and I have completely different music preferences, and let her enjoy it. And she's kind of come around to being a little bit more accepting over time of my purchases. She still rolls her eyes a little bit when a Ross and Red Zero or a Empyrean gets bought, though. Wife is difficult. Yeah, that can be. And yes, I totally agree. Money does not buy loyalty. How about a budget of $250 to $300 for closeback? That's hard. That's actually kind of an area that I don't have a lot of expertise in. If you really want something super bassy and just a fun type of sound, you could always go with like AKG K371. Definitely not a critical listening can, definitely not a monitor or anything like that. That's how it's produced, how it's presented by AKG. But as far as an overall just fun can, big bassy, you could go with AKG K371. You could go with an M40X. You could go with some. You could get a T50 Argon from Mod House. It's a little, I think, more in the price point. Trying to think here. Not sure if a Fostex Ebony T8 is in that price point. I think they're a little more expensive. Let me go to my tier list and see what we got on headphones here. Sort it by price. Give me a moment. And we've got you go Hi-Fi Mandeva Pro, Hi-Fi Mandeva. They can be run both with wires or Bluetooth, which is nice. The Deva Pro is actually really nice. Also, Hi-Fi Man Sundara. You could probably get that for about $300. So you might have to go up a little bit. You might be able to get a used one for a little cheaper. Let's see. If you want something a little bit more bassy and fun, a little bit on the dark warm side, you can go Meze 99 Classic. There's all kinds of options there. If you want a true monitor, though, I would go Sony MDR CD900 ST and put Yaxi pads on it. And what's another closeback? That's about it, I think, that comes to mind. If anything slipped mine, I do apologize. You can always check out my ranking tier list. You can sort it by price, and there might be something in there, and then shoot me a comment down below. I might be able to answer it. Sorry, my brain's not functioning very well today. All right, let's see what else we got here. It's a very interesting way of ratings, but you like it. Yeah, I mean, it's a very unique way. You know, some of the rankings are very confusing in my opinion. They'll put like numbers like, okay, this one is 8.5, this one's 9, this one's 7, this is 6, and it goes across and then they tally it up, and you're just kind of like, it's kind of subjective, you know, kind of odd, kind of hard to understand exactly what they're clarifying as. Whereas this way, I'm just putting a letter out there, and then you guys can go and watch the video and go, I can understand where he's coming from on that. Recommended for, let's see, whoops, you might have to watch a lot of chick flick. Well, we do watch a lot of Hallmark Channel actually around the house, believe it or not. So I think it's like the only channel my wife think exists is Hallmark and Hallmark Mysteries. Let's see. So that's another way that you can kind of get into the, hey, honey, can I buy another headphone? So, yeah, Hallmark Channel. All right, let's see here. Emu Walnut is a good, cheap closeback for $79. Same as the Creative Arvana Lives with the wooden cups. Yeah, the Cals aren't bad. They're fairly cheap. Recommendation for a Bluetooth DAC. Wait, Bluetooth iDAC capable DAC. I don't have any. I honestly don't know. Sorry. Do you prefer the Argon Mark II or the Mark IIIs? I've only heard Mark IIIs. And I heard Argon's. Would that be an upgrade to the Fosdux Deconi Blues? I haven't actually ever heard the Deconi Blue but once at Oxpona. And that was 3-something years ago. So I don't really remember that too much. But yeah, I would say the Argons are an upgrade to them. If I remember correctly, the Blues were kind of me. They were kind of like the Mayflower mod, which is... whereas the Argons are a little bit more on the bassy, fun side of things. TH610s are great. Yes. I think your ranking system makes great sense. Well, thank you. I'm glad that you think that. Hallmark Channel. I'm a good man. Appreciate that. I try. I used to really force like sports all the time, and I've kind of, as you go through life, you learn how to adjust and to make changes to further help and balance your marriage, and you got to give and take, and Hallmark Channel is kind of one of the ones that I've kind of Barodynamic DT770 Pros for the price, excellent price of closeback. That's true. It is very good in that regards. If you, it does have a preferred sound though. Not everybody will enjoy the 770s. Yes, please don't forget to like the video. That's very good. That does help drive up the algorithm and help more people to get recommended and suggested the video. So that does definitely help. And that goes for all the videos. Now, I understand if you have to give a dislike, but I would definitely prefer a thumbs up. Let's see here. Interested in review ThinkSound OV21. I've actually never heard of the ThinkSound OV21, so sure. Why not? Sounds interesting. Let's see. I haven't gotten any comments here for a moment. Did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. So yeah, I was mentioning with my wife, I was like, asking her about, should I mention my goals for the channel and stuff, and she's like, yeah, you should, but you don't want to come across as being begging. So please keep that in mind. I'm not trying to beg here. I'm not trying to. I'm not. I don't want it to come across that way. I just want to be able to grow the channel and give you guys more more videos and more reviews, and give us a community that we can chat with and have fun with. Thanks for your suggestions. I'm debating a Sennheiser 560S or the M40X or the 600s. Okay, so two are open, one's closed. One is kind of more of a monitor, a little bit on the bassier side with the M40X. I would actually, of those three, I would take the 600. Now that's just me, and the reason for that is the 600 of those three have the best tone and timbre, and is the most accurate when it comes to actually like vocal presentations and your mids and instrumentation, and it does a very good job with separation of instruments, and a very good job with like isolating each one out so you can tell which one is what and where and how it's placed. It does a very good job in imaging and soundstage, but it's very much mids focused. It's not very bassy, and it does have a little bit of treble elevation but it has a smaller soundstage. The 560S, on the other hand, is going to be a little bit more upper mids and treble focused. It's going to be a little bit more on the brighter and hotter side of things. It does have a wider soundstage, has about the same amount of imaging details, resolution as the 600, but it is a little bit more aggressive sounding, and the bass is bigger on the 560S. And then the M40X is more of a monitor, it's closed back. You don't have the soundstage as much. It does have a little bit more bass, but it also comes across as being a little bit bloated at times in the bass. It doesn't have quite the definition that the 560S has in that regard. Have you heard the shit Jotunheim? I wonder how it compares to GSX Mini. I heard a Jotunheim like 3 years ago. I honestly don't really remember a whole lot about that. Best cans for jazz and classical. Stacks. the 09s, those things were insane for jazz and classical. Another couple really good ones are the actually Odyssey LCD Too Close are really good for jazz and classical. The Meze Imperium is very good with jazz and classical, and so also is the Rawson Rad Zero. If you want to go cheaper than that, the Anandas are fantastic for jazz and classical. And I find that the Sundaras do a good job with jazz and classical. The Sennheiser HD 660S is also fantastic with jazz and classical. .600s are pretty good with jazz and classical, but you don't quite get the bass definition that you're looking for. And also the trebles in soundstage are a little small, but I don't mind the 600s with that either, but I prefer the 660S for jazz and classical in the Sennheiser family. At this point, don't you need to get rid of stuff to continue with this never-ending hobby? That's a good question. Yes and no. There are some things that you can kind of weed out that you don't really need anymore. But as a reviewer, it is actually, I always find it it always happens that when I do sell something or get rid of something, that I immediately get something in that I go, man, I should have had that other item that I just sold to compare it. So it's kind of a weird line for reviewers. Now, if I was just a listener and wasn't into reviewing and wasn't comparing everything, I probably would. I know I wouldn't have all the stuff that I have. That's a good question. Let's see here. Yeah, HD 600s 100%. Totally agree. 600s are a benchmark that I think everybody should have. They are a very good headphone that just does mids, tone, and timbre proper. If you want the one of the best examples of tone and timbre and a headphone, the HD600. I wish you a good day and evening. Time for me to sleep. Hey, you're very welcome. Sorry for the late night here. I totally understand. Thank you for swinging by. You agree, but the house is only so big. Oh, I got plenty of room. We can get rid of some dogs, get rid of some cats. We can make room. We don't. Let's see here. Been listening to Elderbrook lately. You should give him a listen. Highly recommended. Okay, I will take a listen to Elderbrook. I don't think I've ever heard of Elderbrook. I don't recall that. Actually, I'm just kidding about the dogs and cats. I love my pets. I actually do have a little bit of room left, so we can get some gear in. I can always get rid of some boxes, stash them out in the shed or something. No, Opie would definitely stay around. he's a good kitty. The other ones aren't too bad either, but Opie's definitely a fan favorite with his big, huge orange mane and all that kind of stuff. He's a pretty cat. I don't know where he is. Probably out watching TV or something. Probably watching football. Let's see. So that's a really good question about jazz and classical, because I actually do believe that jazz and classical is the music genres that define a headphone and gear. I think that jazz and classical music is the best examples of tone and timbre and of like dynamics and dynamic range and the abilities and the technical abilities of headphones and decks and amps. And even if you're not a huge fan of jazz and classical music, when you're first listening to your gear and as you're kind of getting used to it, I think that it's very important to throw some of that into your playlist, just so that you can hear different tracks and stuff and hear proper tone, timbres, and all that kind of information that's in there. If you need some recommendations, I can give you some playlists. But my recommended music is actually always in the descriptions of videos, and there's a lot of jazz and classical music in that. No more questions? Really? Nice and quiet night. Everybody tired like I am. I was asked a question the other day about why I review the way I do. Why I'm not, don't do flashy pictures and all this other kind of stuff. And I just put it out simply. I was like, because I don't like the type of reviews. I'd prefer to have somebody talking to me and telling me actually how something sounds rather than trying to show all this other information. And to me, I just tell me how it is. All right, let's see here. Try some herb. That's herb, not herb, Dave. Herb Alpert with the HD600 Sublime Love Trumpets. Okay, I definitely will check him out too. And anyone having Bluetooth signal cutout problems with IFI Go Blue? Yes, that actually is a pretty well-known problem with that device, and I did mention it in my review. The Go Blue it's got a lackluster. I don't know what exactly it is. I don't know if the Bluetooth chip that they're using isn't as good, or if it's maybe like the casing of the actual device is interfering. But I had big time problems with the Bluetooth on that. Supposedly I think they said there's a firmware that fixes that, but I'm not sure. Haven't tried that yet. Are there big, huge differences between budget DACs and high-end DACs? Depends on what kind of differences you're looking for. It's more like subtle differences. But yes, there are differences. And you can hear it, but you don't always hear it. And there are some budget DACs that really do outperform and outshine some higher end ones. And there's crapola in every price point. But yes, you can hear differences. I have yet to have a budget DAC come in and beat my Mytek Liberty DAC. I've only had a couple of DACs that cost triple what my Liberty DAC costs that beat it. So that's something that's always asked. DACs, amps, headphones, IEMs, doesn't really matter. Price can make a difference, but doesn't always make a difference. Excuse me. Do you have an absolute favorite IEM under $100, or is that an impossible question? I would lean to that being an impossible question. I have a lot that I like, and I have a lot that I prefer, but I don't have one definitive one. I wish I could say that, but I honestly don't have one definite one in any of those in a sub $100. Let's see. You love the T3 Plus. Yeah, it's a great IEM. Unfortunately, it seems like some of the other reviewers and stuff are kind of missing it, and I'm not really understanding where that falls into play. The differences that they made between the regular T3 and the T3 Plus, and how it compares to other IEMs in its price point. But I love the T3 Plus, highly recommend it, and I'm glad that you truly enjoy it. That's awesome. Yeah, that the IFI Go Blue definitely. I mean, it sounds fantastic, and it's a great device. But unfortunately, it just has that Bluetooth problem with connectivity, and it's a Bluetooth device, so it is kind of a bummer. Hopefully, they do a revise on it or firmware, which I think there's a firmware, but I'm not sure. I'd have to check on that. To be honest, Edifier makes some great sounding speakers for the price, and have a pair of R90 98 OTs or 980Ts hooked up to an SMSL SP100 tube and the SMSL B1 Bluetooth DAC. Taught me that cheap can be fun. That's awesome. Absolutely awesome. I've actually never heard Edifier speakers. Probably should bring a pair in and give them a listen. Have I tried the Qtlex 5K? Gets rave reviews. Yeah, it wouldn't from me. I tried the 5K, was not impressed with it. Clunky and just horrid UI, and in my opinion, it just doesn't sound that great. In order to make it sound good, you have to mess around with the EQ, and in my opinion, that's a frustration and annoyance that I don't want to deal with a Bluetooth device. And that's my take on the 5K. All right, let's see here. Is there life after the stacks? How's it going back to your headphones after hearing them? Yeah, there is life after stacks. It's called speakers. It's actually not that hard. Once they left, and I got back to hearing all the other stuff that I truly love. The stacks were just an experience that I had. And they're a dream to get at one point, but they're not, like the end all be all. Oh man, my life's over because, I no longer have a stacks in the office. It's not like I broke up with my girlfriend back in the day or something, but, they're missed for sure. But yeah, there's life afterwards. There's other avenues to go down and other fantastic headphones to be explored and speakers. Let's see here. You came into the T2 2 years ago late, but you seem to keep going back to it. Yes, actually, the T2 is amazing. I I did review it really late. I who knows why. But probably if there was one that I kind of reached for frequently, in the $100 price point, it would probably be a T2. But I wouldn't say that it was my definite reach. Your question is very good though. Definitely makes me think. Let's see here. Edifier owns stacks. Interesting. I thought that. What do you suggest for powered speakers? Well, I'm very limited in powered speakers. I've owned two pairs, unless you count the soundbar system that I have out in the living room as powered speakers. So I've owned the Cantu Yumis and the Mono Price MM5Rs. And currently, the MM5Rs are behind me. Oof! Don't look that way. Yeah, you really can't see them. Maybe if I move the camera real quick. There. Those are the Mono Price MM5Rs, and I really like them. They're a ribbon driver and 5-inch woofer, and they're a little bit unique and different than the Katus were. The Katus were just a dome tweeter and woofer. I would actually recommend the monos over the Katu. Plus, the Yumis aren't available anymore. You have to buy them used. The Yumis were very limited in their detail retrieval and in treble. The mono prices do better in treble, and they're better resolving than the Yumis were. Let me see if I can get a kitty cat over here. Come here. There we go. We got Simon. Hey, swat at the microphone. Yeah. Smile, kitty. You are live. So yeah, power speakers, with my limited experience, I would recommend the Monoprice MM5Rs. What do you recommend, Simon? Yeah. Okay, so I need a drink first. I have another kitty over here, but he doesn't want to come around. Come here. Yeah, you don't know it. He's very shy. Milo is the other one that is extremely shy. He gets scared at everything. So I don't know if I can get him on camera. And Opie's not in here, and the door is closed. So we are stuck with Simon and Milo. Come here. There we go. We got him. So this is Milo. Yeah. You're afraid, aren't you? Hmm? Normally, this is the cat that is with me all the time. He's actually like he cuddles with me the most out of all of them. So, anyways, those are two of my cats. Of course, the orange one is Opie, but as I said, he's out in the living room watching football, and the door is closed. If money is no object, I'd recommend the Adam Audio T7Vs. They are an amazing pair of speakers for the price. I've heard good things about Adam Audio, but I haven't had a chance to hear them that I recall. Now, I may have heard them in one of the speaker rooms at Oxpona, but I don't recall really anything from that day other than some of those rooms were freaky expensive and sounded amazing, and some of them were freaky expensive and sounded worse than my Monoprice MM5Rs. All right. Milo's cute. Yes, he is. He's very cute. Do you think you get better audio from a good PC setup or a streamer? I've used Roon. I actually have Roon. I don't really like using Roon. I actually do think that you get a better sound from PC. I use local files. I have a external SSD that I have tons of music downloaded on. And then I just run everything through to my DAC. I actually do think it sounds a little bit better than through Roon, especially if you, hey, don't play with that. Especially if I stream to Roon. I actually find that Roon sounds a little bit DSP'd to me. It doesn't sound quite as clean and clear and accurate as it does coming straight out of my PC. For whatever reason, Roon always seems to have a little bit of a flavored, colored sound to me. That's just my take on Roon. What is the cheapest planar headphone you've heard? I think that would be the it's a hi-fi min. That would be the Hi-Fi Min 400i, I think, because the 4XX is more, right? Yeah, 170. Yeah, so I believe the 400i is actually the cheapest. The 400i 2020 is the cheapest planar. Unless I'm overlooking a planar. Yeah, because the mile price M560 was 175, and I think, let's see. Yeah, that's the cheapest planar that I've heard. Let me get back to my questions here. I do apologize. AG4XX 400i 2020. Those would be about the cheapest ones I've heard. And let's see. What impresses my cats the most? Audio wise or just overall? Overall is anything plastic. If you start crinkling plastic, all of them will just come running. They think that they're getting some special treat. They are just like, they could be the farthest away in the house, sound asleep, and you crinkle some plastic, whether it just be a wrapper or an actual bag or whatever, they'll come running. That impresses them the most is me not playing speakers. When I play speakers, and they do not like it when I have speakers on. They look at me like I'm crazy. What coffee have I been drinking lately? Actually, it's been Starbucks. I know. Where's my Shane bag? I know. Yeah, it's actually been Starbucks as of late. Had to go cheap. Cheaper. I ran out of coffee. I was drinking so much that I ran out of my good stuff from, and so all I had left was the coffee that my wife uses, which is Starbucks. And so I've been drinking that. I need to get some good stuff. Let's see. 4XX were about 130 when you got yours. Yeah, I can't remember the exact price of the 4XX. If it was either 400i 2020 or the 4XX were the cheapest ones. Recommend both. All right, let's see. Yeah, I need to check into Odom Audio. I really have heard a lot of good things about them, so I need to look into them. Genelec 8361A is your end game speaker. I've always wanted to hear Genelec speaker in house. I did price them out when I was getting the monos, and I decided to get the monos first. But Genelec's definitely on my wish list. Would you consider doing a video on made or non-stock replacement wires that you like. Or I'm sorry, modded or non-stock replacement wires that you like. I'd probably think about it. It would definitely have to be it would be a unique approach. That's for sure. I'm not sure, Cat, that's going to fall on you if you keep pulling on it. It would definitely be an interesting video that I would consider. I'm not 100% sure I would do it right at the moment, but yeah, I mean, I've done some cable type stuff before, so maybe, not sure. He's pulling. I have some cables hanging on the back of a door in my office, and one of them is hanging down a little bit more than normal. And Simon is on his back on the floor, looking up at the wire, and he's pulling on it. The other end of it has an XLR connector. I don't think he realizes that if he pulls it much harder, he's gonna get bonked in the head with an XLR connector. Anyways, gotta love cats. They are hilarious. They're fun. All right, I just saw a comment, but I couldn't read it in time before it disappeared. Here we go. People are split on the 400 SE. Those were $129 over the holidays. Some told me that they were the greatest of the 400 series variants. Others said that they were meh and that they liked the 400i and 4SX better. I haven't heard the SE. I am curious about it. And then you have what was it, the X4 or the X4 also that was available. Is that still available on drop? Is that the same thing as the SE, just the drop version? Not sure. There's so many 400 variants now. It's kind of craziness. It's kind of odd how many. I mean, how different can they all be? And then you have you toss that in and you go a few pennies more and you can get up to the 5XX, which is kind of like an in-betweener between the Deva and the 4XX. It's kind of odd. Has a little bit more airy approach to things. Definitely a lot lighter in note weight and density, but a huge soundstage, really wide. So it's kind of like there's so many options in that 130, 150, $200 price point for planars, open backs. Need to start getting some closed backs. It is kind of interesting when you do a search for headphone. Open backs are always kind of the more recommended. Closed back aren't quite as easily found in searches. Wonder why that is. Anybody have any thoughts on that? That would be interesting. Looks like they wanted everyone to like the HE400s. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's probably it's Hi-Fiman's most popular headphone, and it's their originals, or one of their originals. So I can definitely see why it's kind of like the fanboy type of sound. The Cat Empire is a great Aussie jazz group. I will have to look them up too. Never heard of them, and I like jazz, so thank you for the recommendation. Still Sundar. Yeah, I would definitely go Sundar. If you're able to swing $300 price point, or get one on sale between 250, 300, and you're looking for a planar open back, I would Sundar is hands down the best one of them, that I would go for. Pad swapping is fun. Pad swapping is actually really easy with hi-fi-min. So that's another kind of thing, especially with the 400s. There's so many pads that are available. It just makes it very easy to kind of change the tonality. If it's got a little bit too much treble, you can put some hybrid pads or velour pads on. Or if you want more bass, you can put some leathers on and change it to angled pads or not. So that definitely does add a different an ability of to the 400 series, especially. Is the Sundara 2020 better built quality, or is it as good as better than the Sennheiser 600s? While the 600s are plastic, Sundaras are metal. I find the 600s to be more comfortable. The Sundara probably would endure a drop a little bit better. Please don't knock those all over, cat. The Sundara, though, does not swivel as much as the 600. It doesn't quite have like the comfort down. But they're both not. Neither one is uncomfortable. Metal versus plastic, but it's quite the plastic on the 600s. I really do like the 600 plastic quite a bit. Hear good things about the Edition XS. They say better than the Ananda. That's interesting. I'm curious about the XS. I would like to hear it. If it beats the Ananda, that definitely would be very intriguing. Do wish they would have put a different headband on it, though. Can't stand that new hi-fi-min headband. Deva Pro, maybe the must add for people that I talk to all like it. It's very versatile. Yeah, it is very versatile. It is by far the best sounding Bluetooth headphone I've heard. With that R2R, it just adds a nice warmth to it and very smooth and just clean sounding, very well detailed. And then if you take the Bluetooth part off and you just run it wired, it's basically just underneath a Sundara. It's really good. Yeah, XS is interesting for sure. I'm really curious about it. I just wish they put a different headband on it. I honestly cannot stand the new hi-fi-min headband. As much as I like the Deva Pro, I cannot stand that headband. It just doesn't fit me. Yeah, I haven't swapped pads on my Sundara, but a lot of people have. It would be interesting to see what kind of differences can get made out of that. But truthfully, I'm very content with the stock pads. Okay, so Master Singleton XS sounds great, but the comfort is to be desired. That's what I was afraid of. Yes, I do hate those headbands. Talk about them all the time on Discord. There is a reason why, even though the Deva Pro is in-house, and I do currently have one still here, it's not up around for me to wear because the headband just is so uncomfortable to wear. I just absolutely hate that headband. One of the more uncomfortable hi-fi mins. Simon is still trying to get that cable down. You're going to get it. It's going to land on your head. I know it is. Crazy cat. Any more questions do we got going on here? I will say this, though. The build quality of the Deva other than the headband, is better. So Hi-Fi has at least gotten the build quality. They're not as janky feeling as some of the more budget ones from Hi-Fi, but the headband part needs to be fixed. Deconi Nuggets. I don't know if that would help. It would make it too tall. And the other problem is the way that it just kind of angles for the pads themselves and the headband. It comes down. It just doesn't fit right. I mean, the aria is massive when it's on your head. It's like stands way up here. The the David would do that if you put Deconi Nuggets on it. It might be worth it, but he definitely looked doofy with it. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody, please. I'm just curious. All right, so you have the aria and you put them on, right? And it's already, look at the gap there. I can get 2 fingers in, and that's not even remotely close to how tall. Who in the world has a head that is legitly, I mean, look how tall that thing is. Who has a head that you need to extend out that far on the aria? I'm not trying to make fun of you, but wow. That's craziness. And yeah, ET phone home, basically, exactly. It's, yeah, it's a little high. And then you have like I don't know if I can reach it. Then you have the Ether C, which is one of the smaller headbands, and they barely, I mean, like how short and snug and just, compact they are compared to the Aria. Situation here. I mean, the way that some things are just made, you're just like, what were they thinking when they designed it? Just craziness. Looking forward to any new headphones or decks for 2021. I am a little curious about some things that are coming out, and I don't know of any of the models or anything like that coming out. But I would be curious to see if we can get a topping or an SMSL offering in a DAC that is more natural and more neutral sounding versus being all focused on the measurements and being clinical and being cold sounding. We get one that has a little bit of warmth and body to it and is a little bit more on the natural sound. Be curious to see if they could come out with something like that. Headphone wise, I would love to see a good new closed back dynamic sub $1,000 price point, maybe even $500 price point. And I would love to see a headphone that would come out in about the $1,000 to $1,500 price point. That's a dynamic closed. I think that would be interesting. Something that can kind of compete with like some of the Audizays and Hi-Fi Man offerings about the $1,000 to $1,500 price points, and even kind of compete with ZMF a little bit. That would be interesting to see. I think we have enough Planars for a little bit. Let's focus more on something like a dynamic, whether it be beryllium or biocellulose or something along those lines. Doesn't matter. Or maybe do a hybrid type of headphone, kind of like they're doing with IEMs. Kind of do a hybrid headphone that way, couple driver type of headphone. That'd be interesting to see come out. Yeah, the The Aria could use a little bit of shrinking down as far as the length that it expands, and make it feel a little bit more durable. Or take like the Ananda build of the headphone, but make it to be able to rotate. That would be a nice feature. Saving Elite. Yeah, the Elite actually. You mean this? Yeah, the Elite is a very special headphone for sure. It is different than the original, but it's not a completely, totally opposite sound. Don't want to split a review, but it is for sure an upgrade in certain regards. Is that $1,000 worthy of upgrades? You have to watch the review to find out. Let's see here. If only Aeon Noir had better dynamics. Haven't heard the Noir. I've only heard the 2, and I can understand that. Yeah. Would be nice if it was a little bit more elevated and a little bit more reactive, I guess you could say. Let's see. R2R style body in the Delta Sigma decks, and add more analytical incisiveness in the R2R decks. That'd be interesting to see. To get a little bit more of the what one side does better versus, and kind of mix them together. That'd be kind of cool. Change the strap to suede like my old stacks. That would be nice. If you could change out the hard leathers that kind of come with some of the headphones and use the stacks comfort straps. That would be super comfy. I do have to say the 09 was, that comfort strap was crazy good. So soft, but yet supportive. That thing was comfortable. Let's see, you have the SMSL 200 and would like to check out the VMV DSE1 DAC to complement it. 2 things I haven't heard that would be interesting. I've heard good things about the VMV. Yeah, I mean the Noirs are very interesting. If they are anything like the Aeons, they do have a couple flaws, but I think that they, from what I've gathered, are an improvement over the Aeons themselves. Desert Island headphone choice and Desert Island IEM. Okay, well, headphone, of course, you have to have a source. So we'll start with the MyTech Liberty being my source. We'll just keep it at that. Headphone. I would actually, believe it or not, as much as most of you are probably thinking, I would probably go with the Meze Empyrean. I'm actually going to go with the Rawson Red Zero. And the reason being for that is that it would offer for both duties, whether or not I want to be laid back and chill on my island, or if I want to be a little bit more critical at one point. I don't know why, if I'm the only person on the island, but either or, the Rawson kind of fits both of those niches a little bit better than the Empyrean. As far as IEM, I would actually probably go for the new boy that I currently have, which would be the Fearless Roland. One reviewer said, I love the Aeon Noir because they're everything I wasn't looking for in a headphone. Understandable. The Aeon 2s are kind of like that. You're kind of like, very interesting. I like it. I was not expecting that type of deal. So I can understand that. The Noir has an amazing frequency response, isolation and comfort, and all at the expense of dynamic range. That's kind of a bummer. That. Got the Monarch Mark IIs in for Christmas. Technically right now is great, but it may be a little too far on the tame side. Never tried the OG, but I understand that it had more bass. I would have thought that it had a little bit of energy. I wouldn't have thought that it was a little bit more on the mellow side. I would have thought it had a little bit more get up and go, so to speak. Maybe I need to get that in for review. Can't be as boring as the FH3 was, though. Let's see here. Dan Clark's have a unique presentation, like an inverse Odyssey, heavy on the top instead of heavy on the bottom. Depends on which Odysseys you're talking about, but yeah, they can. Definitely. Not all Odysseys have the big bass and more mellow treble. There are some that are fairly balanced, and LCDX, LCDX, and LCD2 closed come to mind in that regard. And then you also have the MX4 that is that way. You have the LCD2s and LCDX 2021s. Awesome. Very good. I get what you're saying, though. I understand where you're going. I was just kind of throwing out a couple of examples that stand out to me as not quite being that way. Let's see. That is very true. LCDs are definitely twice the weight. Dan Clark's, pretty much no matter the model, are extremely comfortable. And one thing that Dan has done very well, unlike Hi-Fi Men and Odyssey, has figured out a way to make things extremely comfortable. How do you rate the HD 800s? I've only heard them a few times. I've never reviewed them. I would probably, if I were to put a rank on them, I would put them somewhere in the D range. They're good technical. They have good tone and timbre, but they're not the best tone timbre of the Sennheisers, and they have a too stretched of a soundstage. Sounds insanely good. It sounds amazing, but it's not realistic and it's not natural. It's too stretched and too elevated and boosted. Monarch Mark 1s and the variations. Yeah, they might have a little bit more energy than the Mark 2s. I haven't heard any of them, but I always thought the Monarchs had a little bit more energy. Yeah, the build has always been really good on Mr. Speakers or Dan Clark. I've never had issues with any of the build. He's always done a phenomenal job. Like my Ether Cs are crazily good built. Just the way that they twist, the carbon fiber. You've got this Nitinol headband with this leather strap. They just feel well built, but yet light and comfortable. Whereas, like, you take like the hi-fi mints, they've got some weight to them. They just feel like more industrial. They just don't feel as premium and as nice as like a Mr. Speakers or Dan Clark. They just feel more like robust and industrial, whereas Dan Clark's feel more premium and more like somebody actually took some time and put some pride into their work, type of thing. And I've had that experience with all the Dan Clarks that I've ever held in my hands at audio shows. Is they just feel like something special, versus like hi-fi min and autos. They just kind of feel like regular old headphones. So I think I'm going to end the live stream here in a couple minutes. And if anybody else has some extra questions, go ahead and send them in, and I'll try to answer them. But probably next 10 or 15 minutes or so, I'm going to try to wrap up. Just got a lot of things to do tomorrow, so I've got to get running here. But I do appreciate everybody that has come in to the live stream today, and I appreciate all the support. And I do appreciate everything that happened in 2021, the growth of the channel. As I said, that we had over 61, almost 6,200 subscribers, and we saw some significant growth there. Some of the things I would like to improve in the channel, obviously, going forward, has been discussed, and I'll do a rundown here in a moment of it. But I do appreciate all of that. So the things I would like to see growth-wise, just to do a quick roundup before we head off, is I would like to see growth on the channel. I would like to get to 15K subs, which means we have to get 7,000 subs in 2022. So if you enjoy the channel and recommend the channel, spread the word, and have people come along and subscribe. We are looking to grow there. And then I would also like to see the view times of videos grow significantly, so that people aren't just watching 25% of the videos like they currently are, but maybe get it up to 50% viewing times. And then also I'd like to, if possible, get some more support coming into the channel, whether it be through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. And if you are able, consider supporting the channel, and that will help to be able to fund the channel to be able to get more gear into review. I do fund a lot of the gear that is reviewed on this channel. Do have things sent in by some of the vendors. I do appreciate everybody that sends things in, but I do purchase a lot of stuff also. So a little bit of financial support here and there does go a long ways to help the channel grow. So anyways, just wanted to thank everybody for coming in, and wish you all a happy new year. Do greatly appreciate everybody swinging by and saying hello and all that kind of stuff. And one last call for final questions, and then we will say good night. Any last questions? Simon, I'm glad that you stopped playing with the kids. Do appreciate that. He's over there cleaning himself now. God, I love cats. Come here, Milo. Come here. See if we can get a cat for you guys. Come here. Oh, yeah. There we go. One last look at the Milo. Want to say hello? Yeah, there you go. What is my favorite YouTube video? My favorite YouTube video ever? Oh, that's a good question, actually. I would say it would probably be one of the like Christmas music videos, Muppets, or it would be Red Green, and one of the videos about like the word game where they have to guess what word is being described. I mean, it'd probably be one of those videos. I'm not sure exactly which one, but I love Red Green, and I also love watching Muppets music videos. So it'd probably be something like that. So, anyways, good question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? The chicken. So, all right. Well, we're going to end the live stream here. I do appreciate everybody swinging by and the great questions, and of course the hard ones there, like what is my favorite YouTube video, and chicken or the egg. So, anyways, I do greatly appreciate all that, and feel free to drop comments down below if you have questions that have come to your mind, or if you need more clarification, or if you would like to get some music recommendations or anything like that. Check out those links and down in the description and also in the comments. Also, don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, like, comment, and subscribe. Do all that good stuff. Remember to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy. And you all have a great night.